Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Trigger Point Research Setups, where we go through a variety of different stock setups that may be poised to move, and this is just the initial stages of where they're setting up. Now, we're going to talk about Green Mountain Coffee Roasters today because they have earnings coming out this week, and I definitely want to focus in on what's going on there because there may be some very interesting moves. But before we do that, very quickly, I want to get over to the fact that if you do follow the Trigger Point Research website and the different things that we post on a regular basis, for even for free, you'll get the potential breaking up setups. And last week on Thursday, which was the 1st of August, we posted this and some discussion about the variety of stocks that are on this list that are poised to potentially break up. Now, again, not all of these are going to actually get to the point of breaking up, but you can take a look at this list on a regular basis, and for subscribers, of course, we have a best ideas of breaking up of the setups. But now let's get over to Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, and what I really wanted to show you first was some of the action on the stock going back. Now, at first I want to show you just some of the things. We're going to go way back, we're going to zoom way out, and I want to show you some of the history of when Green Mountain Coffee Roasters did in fact have earnings. Now, you can see that when we're looking at the earnings here, for example, here there's different earnings points, what they made and what happened. You can see there was a pretty sharp move almost on every occasion. This just makes this a really good potential for a trading stock. Now, looking back fundamentally real quickly, the stock has an average beat of about 20%, and when they come in or miss, the stock gets obliterated, which is somewhat like what happened over here. This is a really good number that came in back in the last quarter, and the stock jumped dramatically. So when we look at the overall movement of the stock on its earnings, we can see there's definitely some action there. So let's then bring it back up. Let's zoom back up here, and let's take a look at what the stock is looking like on, first of all, let's go back on a weekly basis and take a look at this. Let's take off the EPS postings. And we can see that there was a pretty substantial drop from the 70 range down to about the 30 range, as there's a real concern that Starbucks was coming in on this stock. And then when Starbucks said, well, we're really not going to compete, there was a big break. And of course, you could look at the $70 line as the line in the sand from a standard trend line break of where it broke out, and now it's been consolidating in that range. You can also see that on a daily basis, that $70 is still also a support point. But let's also bring in some of the colors, some of the things that we have so we can set up this plan of action for when earnings comes up. Now, one of the things is, again, we know that if they beat, they have to beat by a pretty good margin, 20%. So they're looking for about 76 cents. And we're really looking at about 85 to 90 cents where the stock may take off. Now, looking at this chart, we can see that there are a couple of different zones. We see that clearly there's a big gap that was over in the $60 to the $70 range. And we also see that in this range of about 78 to about 80, very limited volume activity. The darker the color gets with our radar, the less you see significant activity. When we get to the yellow point on the radar, we call that a significant point of interest, and that is where the volume really is most significant in this period. Now we're stretching this out anywhere from 30 to 60 days, so you can take a look at this and see where that is. But what's important to note is the play here, the if you will, the flight plan, as we like to call it, utilizing our airlines type of vernacular, is pretty simple, actually. What you'll see here is that very clearly, if you look across, I'm going to draw this again because I think this is important, and I'm going to draw a pretty thick line here. This yellow line right here, about the $74 range, will act as good support. You had that on multiple times in the past that we've seen that the high volume, the key support level, has been held. Right now it's trading at about $78 or so, and then you're going to see the next layer of support is approximately $68. Now, if you do in fact break down from there, you have to be looking at the move down to the next support, which is about we'll call it about $57, and probably final support right at about the $55 range. And you can see that because we do see that in the overall radar and the bulk of the move that happened during this period, there was a significant amount of overall volume in there that was traded. Now, again, we look at tick by tick volume. That's very important, and we then decipher it and look at it in each time frame to come up with where the basic levels of support and resistance are, and these hold pretty well. Now, real quickly, what you want to do is you want to go over and get a trial over at TradeStation, and you can see these kind of charts, or go over to triggerpointresearch.com, and we will give you the setups and the actual alerts when they do occur. So keep your eye on Green Mountain Coffee Roasters for the $74 level, and then the $68, and short entries below that. Above there, you have up to about $82 is your probably maximum, your safe zone for if you are short to look at the level that you would want to break that. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me.